Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board. Thanks for watching today on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, one of my favorite 10-minute chunks of the entire week, as the great Sal Paolantonio makes his weekly appearance. Hello, Sal Pal. How are you today?
Mitch and Paulie, great to be on Follow the Money every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Love the show. Everybody loves the show, baby.
You know it.
Love to hear that. Thank you so much. And Sal is on the Progressive guest line. Another bad performance by the Champs on Black Friday, losing at home 24-15 offensively. They were stuck in mud pretty much the entire game. A.J. Brown had a good one finally, but that was pretty much it. You are so close to the team and have been for so long. This to me feels like 2023 all over again. Tell me I'm wrong.
It's not wrong, but it's not right. What's not right about it is that the Eagles have already won the Super Bowl. In 2023, they had not won it. So it's a different level of deterioration. One. Two, when you have this level of injuries on the offensive line, remember, and you had no right guard, Mekhi Becton gone, Lane Johnson gone, and you really are a left-handed running team. You can't really run to the right side. So that's a major, major issue. But I got to tell you, in all of my analysis of film of the Eagles offense, it's very clear to me the number one problem is the quarterback.
Oh.
And the number one problem with the Eagles offense is Jalen Hurts is holding the ball too long. 2.99 seconds from snap to throw, second slowest in the National Football League. If you're counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, it's very hard to hold your blocks for 3 seconds, especially if teams are blitzing like the Bears did, or the Cowboys bring in 5 at the line of scrimmage. He's holding the ball too long, and then you watch the film as he's missing receivers, he's missing wide-open receivers, and he's not seeing wide-open receivers. The greatest example of that was that crossing route by Devontae Smith where he threw it behind him. They did show later in the broadcast on film that Dallas Goedert was wide open on a post pattern. I mean, there was no Bears defender within 10 yards of Dallas Goedert. And Jalen Hurts never saw him. But I think the most egregious example was Saquon Barkley in the flat, 5-yard flat route, actually slightly behind the line of scrimmage. I'm not exaggerating this, but pretty much anybody playing backyard football could complete this pass. And he throws it too early and hits Barkley in the helmet. I mean, it's just dysfunctional in the pass game, and the major problem is the quarterback.
Very strong.
It is excellent.
Yep.
How about the OC? How much blame does he take?
Well, see, I don't want to give the OC blame. I don't want to give Kevin Patullo blame for 2 reasons. One, this offense has many fathers. It's Nick Sirianni's offense. Jeff Stoutland is the run game coordinator. He helps with game planning. And then, of course, Jalen Hurts has final say on what they will call and not call.
Uh-huh.
Any offensive coordinator worth his salt will go to a veteran quarterback who's won a Super Bowl and say, do you like this play against this team in this situation? Are you comfortable running this play? And then once he gets to the line of scrimmage, honestly, Mitch and Paulie, we really don't know. No one knows except the team itself how much Jalen Hurts is changing the play at the line of scrimmage.
Yes. Excellent answers. Do they win the division? Can Dallas catch him?
Dallas can catch him, but they won't. The Eagles will win the division. But the Cowboys, man, the Cowboys are playing the best football right now in the National Football League, and that includes the Patriots and the Broncos. I mean, that most watched game ever against Kansas City is a perfectly good example. And by the way, I said home dogs last week. I said Cowboys and Panthers, watch the home dogs. And the Cowboys, they have 2 players on their team right now that are complimenting Dak Prescott, one on offense and one on defense. Quinnen Williams right now, unblockable. Unblockable. And the way that Matt Eberflus is setting him up, he is really doing a great job penetrating the line of scrimmage. Just picked him up in a trade, obviously, a few weeks ago. And the other guy they picked up in the offseason is Pickens. I mean, unguardable right now. Mm-hmm. Pickens is LeBron James. That's who he is right now in the National Football League. You watch him, he is always open. And you got those two guys complementing the way Dak Prescott is playing. And here's the difference between Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. Prescott is on time and on target. And he sees open guys. And he trusts his big dog. And that's something that Jalen Hurts has not done. And at some point, the switch has got to be, the lights got to go on, and Jalen Hurts has got to figure this out.
Well said. Do you like the Cowboys? Do you love the Cowboys tomorrow night against Detroit?
I love the Cowboys tomorrow night against Detroit because two reasons. One, the Lions are not blocking anybody.
Right.
And Matt Eberflus on the front with Quinnen Williams, they're going to get after Jared Goff, who can't move. Two, the Lions have problems in their secondary with injuries. Mm-hmm. And Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and that tight end are a threesome that they'll have difficulty handling. I think the Cowboys go on the road and win outright.
So do I. So back to your Eagles for a second here. Paulie asked you about the division. Do they win against the Chargers in L.A. this week?
Yes, they win against the Chargers in L.A. First of all, the Eagles love to play in L.A. They love to play the Rams and the Chargers in L.A. This team historically and under this administration has been a good East Coast to West Coast team. They are comfortable playing in SoFi. They will they get juiced up for it. They will play at a high level in this football game, and I think they match up well against the Chargers. I think the Eagles will win this game, and they will cover.
Bigger surprise, they allowed almost 300 yards rushing against the Bears, or the family started with ravioli and not lasagna on Thanksgiving?
Oh no, yeah, come on. I was in the Acrisure press box. I got to tell you the story. And there's a gentleman there. He's a paisan from Pittsburgh, and he's always saying, "Hey, I heard you on Mitch and Paulie on VSiN." He goes, "But do you really have lasagna before the turkey?" And I said, I got to confess to you, this time we didn't have the lasagna. We had the ravioli instead.
Did it live up to it?
A dozen meat and a dozen cheese can't go wrong.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, I'm guessing that when you were playing backyard football on Thanksgiving, you never screwed up and made that errant pass like Jalen Hurts did that you're talking about.
Well, listen, I sent you the picture of the MVP, my granddaughter, Kira. She was the MVP of the Backyard Turkey Bowl, and we're celebrating her 12th birthday today, too, and we got the sauce already on the stove, and we're almost ready to go. So, but I take some time out to be on Mitch and Paulie and Follow the Money on VSiN because, you know what, this is a high priority. But she has not. She's about to walk in the door from karate. This kid does it all.
Wow.
Wow. There you
go. What a family. You're the best. Love having you on. You briefly brought up the AFC. This has to be, when you look at the odds board, it's absolutely crazy, but this has to be the most wide open AFC or any conference has been in a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, according to our numbers at ESPN, it's the most wide open AFC in 15 years when you look at the money line. The most wide open AFC, and the NFC is not far behind. Remember that number that I gave you guys earlier in the year, that in the last 8 years, only 7 teams have made the Super Bowl. 25 have not. It's a league of haves and have-nots. So when you look at that this year, and you can name the 7 teams, you knew who they are. They're the Bucs, the Eagles, the Rams, and the Niners in the NFC. And in the AFC, it's the Pats and the Bengals and the Chiefs. And only 4 of them have won the game. Oh. So who's gonna penetrate that ceiling right this year? And when you look at it, it's so wide open. Could you see Seattle running the table? Absolutely. Could you see the Cowboys running the table? Absolutely. Could you see the Texans with this defense?
Absolutely.
And their schedule? Absolutely, you could see that.
Yep.
Now, I want to show you, there's one thing about the Patriots and the Broncos. You look at the combined record of the opponents of the Patriots. 54-104 combined record, winning percentage of .342. That's the easiest schedule in the NFL this year. 54-104 combined record of the Patriots' opponents. The Broncos, 58-86, winning percentage of .403, fourth easiest. So in my view, while both teams are good, I like the design of the offense by Sean Payton in Denver and Josh McDaniels in New England. I want to see them really get tested.
Great breakdown. Phenomenal appearance. Packers 6.5 against the Bears, quickly.
That's a Bears game.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah. You saw what they did. The middle of their offensive line moved the Eagles off the ball, 2, 3, 4, 5 yards off the ball. That center and those two guards for the Bears and the two-back system that Ben Johnson brought over from Detroit is super, super effective. And the other thing is, I was talking to the Eagles players after the game, and they said Caleb Williams is faster on the field than you think.
Okay. Sal Pal, you are the absolute best. Love talking to you. Thanks for the time. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, gentlemen. Love being on the show.
The great Sal Paolantonio with us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, best and worst ATS teams in the NFL and college football. Don't look now.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
This hour sponsored by Better. Better picks the daily fantasy sports app where your sports knowledge turns into real cash fast. Download Better or visit better.app now. Sign up today. Get free money and no deposit necessary. Better.app, BETR.
All right, timing could not be better today. We can't thank Stanford Steve enough for joining us right now. 2 full segments from ESPN, obviously, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line, braving the elements. He's outside. His daughter is in swim practice right now. It looks like you're coming to us live from, is it a baseball field behind you?
No, that's Wheaton's football field.
Football.
Goalposts are over here. I'd move the camera, but I'm afraid it's going to fall. Wheaton High School, home of the Knights. Yeah, daughter's got swim practice. Paulie asked me to join. I got a little free time. Not driving home. Let's talk some ball.
You're the man. By the way,
it.
colder here in Las Vegas, probably than where you're at right now with all the wind. So, but that's neither here nor there. All right, your thoughts now after the committee last night, right? We've been making the case all day long based on what they said after the show was done. If they're head-to-head, if they're back-to-back, we're going to look at that head-to-head when it matters most. That means Miami probably should leapfrog Notre Dame. Would they really do that, in your opinion?
I just go back to the idea, guys. Just because there's one team in between, we can't compare them or give credit to head-to-head. Like, that's just brutal to me. And I don't blame Sark for coming out and saying, why are we playing these games? It's true. Like, I was at Texas, Ohio State. It was a phenomenally highly contested game. It was great. Jumped off the season. Gave us a litmus test of what Ohio State possibly could be. I didn't think they were going to be this good that day. And then sure enough, Texas holds it and loses by 7. But the idea that they have to be in this same tier to compare it, I mean, I watched the games, guys. And listen, the better team thing, I guess I get. But with the eye test deal, and with Miami being, 1 spot lower in strength of record and game control, and then 2 spots lower in strength of schedule, like a head-to-head doesn't outweigh that stuff. They're right next to each other. So that's the issue I have. I also thought Texas A&M dropped way too far. I don't think A&M should be behind Ole Miss, which you don't know what's going to happen with this fallout. I would think Ohio State and Indiana, as long as it's close, are not going to lose the bye. But, guys, the other thing is traveling around all over the place. 1 year, we got 1 year, right, of a sample size of this playoff. Nobody wants the bye.
Yeah.
They want the home playoff game. That's what they want. So the whole thing is unreal. Like, I thought we were all in unison. Like, yeah, change who gets the bye, make it the best 4 teams, we'll be good. And this year seems more chaotic than last year.
Totally agree. In that game, they held Love to 33 yards rushing as well to start the season. You had several great points on the podcast.
Never trailed.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Never trailed either. Great call. You had several great points on the podcast with SVP. How about number one that you thought we were getting 12 spots, and now it might be 9 spots? What do you think of James Madison and the American winner to get in?
Well, that's what's going to happen. They classified it as what, top 5?
Yeah.
And who had that before the year? I mean, listen, this year has been upside down. I don't know where you guys were before the year. I had Clemson playing Ohio State, or I had Clemson playing Penn State in the national championship. Like, this thing has been flipped on its head. But, yeah, it's not really a 12-team playoff. With Notre Dame in there and then the 2 group of 5, it's 9. You got to be top 9. So I feel like everyone realized that about 3 or 4 weeks ago when this ACC thing started flipping on its head. But, you know, the idea of what makes a tiebreaker, like Duke and Miami, right? They both have 2 losses in the conference. It goes to combined conference opponent record. They played 2 of the same teams.
Yes.
2. That just shows you the league. So this whole talk about having conference play-in games, I think, is going to get a lot of legs because you could have those this weekend. While you have the conference championships trying to get those first 4 buys, you can have a Vandy playing Texas again to get in. You can have a rematch of even if you want to go, 5 to 14 or whatever. You could have A&M and Texas playing again on this weekend while the conference championship games are going. So it's it feels just the unknown, And then I'm sure people are Miami's that much closer. We really think they're going to move them ahead of Notre Dame. Both teams are not playing. We're gonna let we got 9 games that they barely have anything to do with because Miami didn't play Duke, and neither did Notre Dame or Virginia, and we're gonna let 9 other games dictate whether 2 at-large teams should jump each other. I just don't see that. They just set themselves up way at the beginning, guys, with Miami all the way down at 18.
That's
it was
right.
the recency of the loss. And I also wonder if we're going to continue to see the rankings released on a week-to-week basis. I really I don't see what the benefit of that is anymore.
Yep.
That's well said.
Strong comment. Okay.
That's well said. You also played the game, and in light of the Kiffin mess, the biggest issue is the calendar. Well, we just had signing days, and then the portals come. How do you fix the calendar?
I thought Joey McGuire made a great point where everybody goes and plays week 0. So that way you move. You can't have games going 3 weeks into the second semester. And he made the point he wants his transfers done by the second semester. He wants them to do winter workouts before they start spring ball. I thought it was genius.
Okay.
But what he said, now who doesn't want more football in August?
Yes.
All we do is talk about how much we want the season to start in August. Move it up a week. Nobody gets hurt. No one gets hurt. That helps the calendar. You play the conference championship games the week before. You play them the Saturday of Thanksgiving, which I think helps out everybody because then everybody, could do what they want the Saturday before that because that's your rivalry week. But I loved what Joey McGuire had to say about moving. Who does not want more football in August? Well, we are starving for it. And I think it helps the sport getting 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks? Yeah, that would put them 2 weeks out in front of the NFL.
Yes.
So looking at Ole Miss's playoff game down the road then, I brought this up a little bit earlier. This might be a difficult question to answer, but how much stock and how much more of a handicap do we look at their motivation based on the players coming out now on social media and kind of mocking Lane Kiffin saying, we didn't want you to coach us. Get the hell out of here. And to go prove a point, like we didn't need this guy to coach us in the playoff.
Well, I thought Schlabach wrote an awesome article today on ESPN.com, not diagramming, but throwing a timeline on everything because that Saturday before they played the Egg Bowl was basically when it was done. And, then you get a whole week of how Lane can spin things the way is in his favor, that he wants to coach. They told him then they didn't want him to coach. So I thought it was an idea of trying to figure out who he was going to bring as a staff. There's rumors about when he closed on a house in Baton Rouge. Yeah. So I try not to believe all that, but that's too personal to get into. But when you look at the idea of this, I think it's huge that Charlie Weiss Jr. is coming back to call the plays. He is the play caller, guys. Charlie Weiss Jr. calls the plays. Lane fixates everything. Lane, late second adjusts or changes the call when it comes in or from down from the booth. But I think that's huge. I think you're going to see a spirited team. I'm really rooting for them. I don't have Trinidad Chambliss in the Heisman. I'm not a voter, but I wouldn't have him in there because he didn't play every game. I think playing every game is a monster criteria for that award. But what that kid has done, give him every other award. He's been awesome. I thought he was great. I was there on the field for Georgia. They just like Texas didn't have the ball against Georgia in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss didn't have the ball. It's just a credit to Kirby Smart and that Georgia team are ramping things up in the fourth quarter. But that kid has been absolutely sensational, an incredible story. It would be remarkable, awesome to see them win multiple games in the playoff. I think I'm a big Pete Golding fan too. I'm really happy he has this opportunity. He's a coach's coach. He knows he's a great recruiter. Players relate to him. It's an awesome opportunity for these guys, and they should have plenty of juice moving forward.
2 minutes, so we have to break, and then we'll come back and talk the games. You were on the field for Michigan, Ohio State. Would our audience be surprised what is said on the field and even what fans are saying to one another?
Oh, I'm not a Michigan fan. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I mean, it got to the level where there was just zero disrespect. I mean, there was zero respect. You got people going around just saying anything. I mean, right to the face, the whole thing. If you notice, I mean, I watched it back. I watched the TV copy and the coach's tape. There's a lot. Like, I'm down on the field. You can't really tell. A lot of red. There was a lot of red that showed up. But that just shows you the strength of the Army that Ohio State has. That fan base is crazed. They're so crazy. That's why I love them. But it is as hot as it could get. I mean, coming out, I mean, Ohio State, we were on that sideline for the show. I mean, the fans were not letting any chance go by without saying something bad to the Ohio State players or coaches. So it was a scene. And I think it played out where the better team won the football game for sure.
So you're saying it was more obnoxious than classy. Surprising.
Yeah. And I give them a lot of credit. They must have got started early because that's a noon Eastern game.
Yes.
They must have had it going early. Hearing what these people do now and hiring chefs and bartenders to start at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. It's an experience. I'll tell you that.
Is that the most intense spot that you've watched a game, or would that be an SEC clash somewhere?
No, SEC is just louder.
At night,
Michigan's not a loud stadium at all.
Yeah.
Especially when they're down 3 scores in the third quarter.
Yeah. Who am I talking to here? I would imagine like Baton Rouge, LSU, Alabama at night is unrivaled.
Yeah, Georgia night games are getting there too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Stanford Steve's going to hang. He's outside at Wheaton High School as his daughter's in swim practice right now. 45 degrees, so he doesn't even have gloves on. Nice night near the nation's capital.
We're good.
He's sticking out for one more segment. We're going to get into these title games coming up this weekend. What does he make of the Boise number against UNLV and how this much money coming in on Indiana against Ohio State in the Big Ten title game? We'll get his thoughts on those games next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, now let's get to the games this weekend. Stanford Steve, very cool to hang out for another segment live with us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Your thoughts overall on Georgia, Alabama in a rematch here. The only loss on Georgia's resume this entire year was against the same exact team that they're taking on Saturday.
Yeah, and I thought they really didn't come out well in that game. I mean, Georgia turned that into a regular weekly deal where they, started off slow and came back as animals in the second half. But I think in that Alabama game, Mitch, they were without their 2 starting tackles and they're back. But now they lost Bobo's son, who was the center, who was their best offensive lineman by far. And if you go back to that game when he gets hurt last week against Georgia was rolling. And then he got hurt, and it was just a miscommunication deal. And Georgia Tech's not a good defense. We've seen that get exposed at the latter half of the year once they got in the mix for an ACC title game. In Alabama, I don't know if Jam Miller is back. I think he's enormous because he's great in pass protection. I think Alabama has acclimated to this not being able to run the football, but I thought they ran it effectively against Auburn. But Georgia's defense is only going to be better. This isn't Georgia defense that Alabama faced. I just really wonder where Ryan Williams is, because this is the Ryan Williams game. Georgia does not have a great secondary. There's been some off-the-field stuff. I think with just maturity factors. He's had a ton of drops. But you look back at last year, he was the second-best receiver next to Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was close. So I look at that as I think it's a coin toss game. I think there's plenty of motivation with Georgia, obviously, with Kirby not having great success against Alabama. And that Georgia offense has to figure it out. The one factor, everybody's bashing Alabama for moving ahead out Notre Dame. I think Alabama's defense is really good, and they might have the best secondary next to Ohio State in the country. So I think that can help them hang in the game if they struggle offensively early on. And I think it's a total coin. I've been at this game the last 5 years. The intensity is insane. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Guys laying it on the line. So it's a stay away from it. What's it, 47.5? I might. That's a good number, man. I think it's a stay away right now.
Okay. All right. How about Boise up to 4.5 at home against UNLV? UNLV can't stop anything.
Yeah, I didn't understand how these two teams got in. Like, this was the one, right, where the commissioner of Mountain West just said, we're going to go to bed Saturday night. We'll wake up and let you know who's playing Sunday. Like, how does that factor in? I believe New Mexico beat both these teams, and so did San Diego State. So that's who I was expected to play. And then I wake up, I'm like, we got on the blue again. Boise's had great success against UNLV. I think there's more stability when you look at the lines of scrimmages. The running back for Boise ran for over 200. I think they had 560-something yards. The quarterback almost threw for 3. He ran for 201. I don't see UNLV being able to stop Boise. I like Boise.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was a hot dog stand. They went to computers. UNLV played 2 of the teams and lost to both. They're in the game. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, to tie these in together then. James Madison, 23.5 against Troy. Do they run up the score like they did last week then to prove they're in if they get the Duke win? And is Duke in at like you can bet Duke 25-1 right now to make the playoff in the late game in the AC?
I don't see Duke getting in.
Okay.
I don't see Duke getting in. I really don't. And they weren't impressive against Virginia last time. I think that's a dicey thing. Now, all the pressure's on Virginia, all of it. So that's a stay away. With Troy, it's one of those. They don't have explosive guys. They're decent. They can hang. They pride themselves in playing methodical games. I would take the 23. It's a lean. Again, ton of pressure on JMU. You got to feel like he's shown everything. But that, to your point, if they want to, Paulie, they're going to do it because he's out the door. Yeah. He doesn't care. He's going to score. If he can score 60, he'll score 60. Chesney's he's a savant. So it's not a great play, but I would lean towards taking all those points in the title game where all the pressure's on one team. Yeah. I will close my eyes, hold my butt, and take the 23.
All right. I do think that Miami's best path to get in is if Duke wins. Because then that way the committee could actually come out and explain we can't leave the ACC out. We had to put them in over Notre Dame.
Well, I also to that point, which I lean towards BYU in the game. But if BYU gets rolled, then you get Miami right next to Notre Dame on the seeding lines because according to them, they need them right next to each other on the seed line to compare them. And that's when head-to-head would be a factor. So if they haven't done it by now, I still find it hard that they're going to jump Miami over Notre Dame.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to disagree with that. But you did grab BYU at a huge number here against Texas Tech. What was the number, and explain why you like them?
13.5. I was at that game. Texas Tech dominated. They were shank field goal for BYU, muff punt, 2 picks. And what I've watched from BYU since then is why I find them more inclined to take. They've taken the reins off Bachmeier. They threw the ball over. And now I get it. This is the best defense in the Big 12 with Texas Tech. But Bachmeier has 2 guys. LJ Martin was not healthy in that game against Texas Tech. He's an NFL running back. That guy's a stud. I look at the creativeness that Roderick could get going with BYU with the offense. You always have the quarterback run factor with Bear. This is a lay it on the line game where you need it. So your quarterback runs, your scrambles, all that's going to be in there. There's no holding back on your freshman quarterback here. I think BYU's dangerous. I like how they play on the lines of scrimmage. Texas Tech's offense, I believe BYU could play with minimal guys in the box. If there's one thing about Texas Tech, that offensive line has not been tested. They got plenty of pressure on Morton in that first game. I think BYU's dangerous here. I would take the points.
Okay, and Big Ten title game, also the same total as the SEC, 47.5, Buckeyes 4.
Yeah. To me, this is all about Indiana's defense. That was the story for me being on the field in Eugene. First series, they come out and Oregon goes 3-and-out. You don't hardly ever see that. But what they got difference makers up front. Kamara, the D end, and Fisher, the linebacker, plays sideline to sideline just as good as Sonny Styles does for Ohio State. I would lean under. I think there's a lot going on here, guys. I made the point 3 weeks ago. Jeremiah Love for the Heisman was still at 30-1 because if everyone was saying the winner of this game, the winning quarterback was going to get the Heisman, I'm not sure. I see both these defenses playing well in this game. Indiana has personnel to slow down. Sayan's been fantastic. But this, and then there's a conversation about Ohio State. Are they better than they were last year? I still lean towards last year because the skill level, and they had difference makers on the defensive line. Now, the reason Ohio State's been successful this year, they have a great offensive line. Why Sayan's numbers are great, he doesn't get touched. I mean, he's sitting back. I mean, you look at those long developing plays, Michigan usually eats those alive. He's throwing the ball 40, 50 yards down the field without a guy in his face. I believe Indiana lives on priding themselves on getting on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That's what disrupted Dante Moore in Oregon. I would lean towards Indiana. I feel like this is going to go up. Like, this is the lowest it'll go, right?
Oh, I can't imagine it's going to go lower than 4. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but
yeah. I agree with you guys.
I texted a couple guys about a month before Indiana went to Penn State. I said, give it to me. What's the Big Ten line? And it was 7 back then.
Okay.
That was a month ago. So you've seen only momentum with Indiana. But Mendoza's, those back shoulder fades he threw at Indiana to Surratt and Cooper, that's an unguardable play.
Yeah.
I don't care who you have.
Yeah.
It's an unguardable play. And inside on a dome, you would expect the offenses to be better. We're not playing in weather or anything. So it's a fascinating matchup. I just wish it meant more because I think the loser's still going to get a bye in this game. And that, I would think, too, they got to split these two on opposite sides of the bracket, too, as we get into the playoff.
Podcast is great. Bad Beats is great. Were you wearing a heated vest that would heat up if you pressed a button in Foxborough?
Yeah. We got those last year when we froze our butts off at Green Bay. It's great. It's the best thing about it is it's got a little like heat thing on the back of the neck. And you guys don't know about the bald guys needing warmth. So the heated vest is Aurora, I believe is the company, ARORO.
Correct.
Check it out.
AuroraWear.com.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong.
All
Very
right.
good.
Good job, man.
Steve, you're the man. Bizarre meat on us next time you're in town, okay?
Whatever you guys need. Actually, I got a quick stop coming out Tuesday for Coach Saban's Hall of Fame at the Bellagio, but I won't be able to see you.
Damn.
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The time after that,
Coach
we'll
Saban.
do it.
I got it. Can't throw out an invitation for Coach Saban.
No, God, no. You got to go there.
No.
Thanks, pal. Enjoy the games this weekend.
You got it, guys. I appreciate you.
Great talking to you. Think you know sports, get paid for it, better picks. Just download Better, pick more or less on your favorite player's stats. If it hits, you win. New users get $10 just for signing up. And when you do deposit, 50% match up to $200. Better.app. Download Better today. Better.app, BETR. What we're betting coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More best bets on the way as VSiN host Matt Youmans joins the program now. We head out to the Progressive guest line. Matt joins us every single Wednesday at this time. All right, Matt, let's begin tomorrow night. We had Sal Paolantonio on the program 90 minutes ago. I asked him about the game between the Cowboys and the Lions, and he said that he loves the Cowboys tomorrow night. That made me happy. Sal's been pretty solid this year on our show, and I like Dallas a lot tomorrow night as well. What say you?
I don't use the word love too often. I'm going to say I like the Cowboys a lot, and I missed the 3.5. I was out there briefly, but I did play Cowboys +3 here. It's amazing how quickly things change in the NFL. When we were in there on a Monday night about a month ago when the Cowboys were a crap show against the Cardinals, and it looked like they were hopeless. Now all of a sudden they're red hot, and Dallas is going to be a dangerous team if it can get into the playoffs, and going to definitely make a push here. Look, the Cowboys outgained the Chiefs on Thanksgiving, 457 to 362. Cowboys offense averaged 7.0 yards per play. And Dak, over the last two, against the Super Bowl defenses, Eagles and the Chiefs, 674 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He's taken only 1 sack in those 2 games. Javonte Williams, this guy, a lot of people threw him on the trash pile. He's close to 1,000 yards rushing. George Pickens has been outstanding. He's been better than CeeDee Lamb. This Dallas defense, after the trade and the reinforcements have come back, actually looks pretty good. So I think the Lions are starting to unravel a little bit on both sides of the ball, and Dan Campbell, the caveman, is making one dumb decision after another. So I think the Cowboys are going to be live tomorrow night in Detroit +3. We'll play it on the money line. I think the Cowboys should win the game tomorrow night.
This is awesome. This is a playoff game. So is Sunday night. How about the Chiefs down to 3 here at Circa against the Texans?
It feels like we've talked about this a lot, where the Chiefs are in must-win situations. Obviously, they got to win them all. I've already got that Chiefs win total under 11.5 in the win column. How about that? Never thought that was going to happen this early in the season. But a little bit of a situational advantage here for the Chiefs. Played on Thanksgiving, got a little extra time off. You're going to be at home in the cold. Texans playing back-to-back road games after being in Indianapolis last week. And I did not think C.J. Stroud looked especially sharp in the game last week against the Colts. That was his first game back from injury. I didn't think he looked that good. And we know the Texans have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, but hey, guess what? The Chiefs have the number 7 scoring defense. They're not that far away. I know a lot of people want to proclaim the Chiefs as dead and buried, but I don't think they're that far away. The problem is they're not able to put a lot of pressure on the passer. Their pass rush has been lacking, but I don't think they have to. That's not going to be a big problem against C.J. Stroud, who's not going to pick him apart. And Daniel Jones last week was a quarterback who was really immobile against the Texans. Patrick Mahomes is going to be a lot tougher for this Texans defense to deal with. I think you're going to see Mahomes and the Chiefs show their championship pedigree here. Back to the wall. Circa right now, Chiefs -3, -115. That's my play. Paul, you had the winner Monday night. You picked the Giants. Good call by you. So
Patriots.
I'm going to put in a special order for you at Dom DeMarco's for the Thursday night game. What do you want? Al Scully is going to deliver anything you want tomorrow night.
Really?
How about that?
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, you don't have to rush to make your call right now. Look at the menu and get back to Matt, I would say, right? That's probably the right move here.
Yeah.
I will have to request a cannoli. Have a cannoli. I love that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Your first bet in the college football title games was who?
Indiana +6. And actually, Westgate had 6.5. And I said, you know what? I'm going to hold out, see if I can get 7. And I started to go the other way. So I took the Hoosiers +6. I'd still play them at 4, 4.5. I'm going to play them on the money line, too. I think Indiana wins the game. Really, Indiana and Ohio State, very similar. If you stack these teams up statistically, very similar. Ohio State, number 1 in scoring defense, 7.8 points a game. Indiana, number 2 in the nation, scoring defense, 10.9. But really, if you look at the Ohio State D, how many really good offenses have tested the Buckeyes? Not many. I think Indiana's a really good offense. Indiana's really good on the defensive side of the ball, too. It's just Ohio State's got more high-profile players people like to talk about. Julian Sand, Bo Jackson, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate. Indiana's got some damn good players, too. Like last week against Michigan, the Ohio State defense had it easy. Bryce Underwood, I've talked about him all year. He's a raw passer. He's far from a refined quarterback. He was 8 for 18, 63 yards with a pick. Underwood struggled all season. For a $12 million quarterback, Michigan didn't get what it paid for so far. Indiana has scored 27 or more points in 11 out of 12 games. Ohio State's allowed, I think, no more than 16 in any game this season. This could be an ugly, low-scoring type of game, but I think Indiana gets 20, and I like the Hoosiers' chances to win this game. Look, Curt Cignetti, to me, is like a Nick Saban clone. He was on Saban's first staff at Alabama in, I think, 2007. This guy pays attention to every little detail. His team is so well prepared, well coached, and his quarterback's a veteran who doesn't make many mistakes. Also, Indiana had kind of a bye last week against a bad Purdue team, while Ohio State played essentially its Super Bowl. Look, the Buckeyes had circled that game against Michigan. They cared about that more than anything. Could there be a bit of a letdown going into the Big Ten championship thing? I think it's possible. There's going to be no letdown for Indiana, and this game's in Indianapolis. I think Hoosiers win it. Take the points, take the money line.
Great breakdown. How did you approach Georgia and Alabama here as they met in the regular season, and this was Georgia's only loss?
Yeah, that was September 27th. You're right, that was Georgia's only loss. Georgia defense is a lot better now than it was then. Bulldogs have allowed 7.3 points over the last 3 games. You know, I know you guys have talked a lot about the committee clown show last night and the gutsy call by Alabama and how impressed the committee was by Alabama's win against Auburn. Alabama was outgained 411 to 280 by Auburn. That's an Auburn team that finished 1-7 in the SEC and fired its coach. Jam Miller, Alabama running back, limped off with a leg injury. He had 83 yards rushing. Alabama's been really ineffective running the ball. Georgia's playing in the Dome for the second week in a row, which could be a bit of an advantage. Look, Kirby Smart is 1-7 against Bama. You think he wants to win this game? He wants it bad. I like Georgia here, and I laid 2.5 for a little bit, and also laid -135 on the money line.
How about the Rebels out here Friday night at Boise? Boise up to 4.5.
You know, Wes Reynolds was on our show there tonight, and he made a really good case for UNLV. I'm not quite there yet with the Rebels, even though Anthony Calandria, the quarterback, has been playing great. I mean, if you look at UNLV, I actually think they're playing their best football right now. They blew out Hawaii, blew out a Reno team that was starting to play well. So I can see the case that Wes was making for UNLV, and the number's up to 4.5, but I'm just not quite there yet. I did want to throw one thing at you guys. Did you hear Dan Mullen's name being mentioned for the Penn State job? Do you think that's realistic?
I did. Matt, everyone's saying no to him. They fired their coach first. They got nothing.
I know. Well, they're probably lucky they didn't get Matt Rule. So
yeah, could be. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but it's not what you want when you fire your coach first.
No,
everyone tells you no. But.
And by the way, Matt, I heard you the other day on the show saying good job by BYU here re-upping their head coach because you thought that's not the right spot for him at all. It would not have worked at Penn State.
I thought Kalani Sitake was a poor fit at Penn State. He doesn't have any roots in the Big Ten or on the East Coast recruiting out there. He's got that pipeline to BYU with the Samoans and the older Mormons on the mission. They got it going really well there at BYU. That's a perfect spot for him. Yeah. Penn State was just a bad fit, so I didn't like that, and I think it's probably better for both. But where does Penn State turn next? I like Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator of the Bills. I wonder about a guy like Dan Mullen, Dabo Swinney. I don't know. There are different places they can look. It's not going to be Brian Kelly. I know that.
Yeah. College basketball tonight. A lot of games on the schedule here. UCLA takes on Washington. What's your play?
Let's go for the late night game. The battle in Seattle. I'm going to go UCLA -1.5 or lay the short money line price here. UCLA has won 11 of the last 12 against Washington. Both these teams have injuries. Both not playing real well lately. Washington's really banged up, and really the only guy on the front line who's going to be out there tonight is the senior Frank Kepnang. But UCLA, what you got to watch here, Tyler Bilodeau, who's their best player, 14.8 points, leading scorer, shoots 52%. He's missed the last 2 games with a knee injury. I think Bilodeau's going to play tonight. Everything I've read points to him coming back for this game, which is huge, because you got Sky Clark, Eric Daly. Obviously, we expected big things from the New Mexico transfer of point guard, Donovan Dent. It hasn't worked out real well because Dent's had a leg injury. He's had over a week to get a little healthier here off that 3 points, 1 for 8, 6 turnover performance, and that loss to Cal last week. I think this UCLA team is far more talented. I like Mick Cronin off a loss. And if Bilodeau's back tonight, UCLA is going to be the play at Washington.
Very good. Matt, appreciate the time as always. Good luck tonight and this week.
Okay, you bet. Thanks.
Want to point this out quickly as he was on the Progressive Guest Line. He has 2 bets in golf this week as well. Hero Challenge in the Bahamas, Bobby McIntyre 15-1, Justin Rose 28-1 for Mr. Matty Ice Humans right there.
Cannoli?
That's the finisher though. It's not the starter.
Oh, they're gonna bring the pizza and the meatballs.
Well, the meatballs are so good. How do you just say an extra helping of meatballs?
It would behoove them to bring cannoli.
Yes, it would. Up next, we'll get into our best bets in pocket plays here on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.